Hey viewers, welcome to another game of Casual Pro Gamer. Today we're doing a Terran versus Terran game between ZeuS and NaDa. So I'm not sure if this is the same NaDa that used to be like the god of Starcraft Brood War, but I am pretty sure. So it is a Terran versus Terran, which means it could last for a while, but it could also be over pretty quickly. So yeah, no guarantees there. I didn't really see the game time, which is excellent. I wish there was a way for me to actually hide it before starting it up. But yeah, well, we'll have to deal with it as we go. So supply depot going down here, and well, different positions here. ZeuS placing it next to his gas geyser, just to make sure, well, that he has the shortest route from where he was actually mining to where he now wants to build it, losing the least amount of minerals possible. And yeah, this NaDa is going to wall off his base, and he is going to supplement his wall off with a barracks. Wall off's not necessarily good in Terran vs Terran because there aren't a lot of rush units. You can go for some marines, I guess, but normally people don't really bother. They bother against ZeuS because ZeuS is based on rushes, and yeah, if you don't wall off, it's kind of suicidal. So ZeuS, instead of the barracks, going for a fast expansion here, and that is really interesting because if he can hold off the first push, then he will gain a significant advantage there in the economy. Because as you can see, this is mostly saturated now. He has, let's see, it's 14 drones for 8 mineral patches. You need about 16. To well, a little more can make it a little more effective, and then you need your gas geysers maybe, but yeah, going into the 2 barracks here because he took a chance by going for the command center, which means he's going to be behind in army because he doesn't have a barracks, and well, every unit that's out for the other Terran player, he doesn't have that. So with the double barracks, he's going to be able to produce twice as fast, making sure that he can actually catch up in army. And yeah, he's going to have a pretty decent advantage. I mean, we see the expansion coming up for the second player as well. But yeah, the orbital command is going to generate mules, or rather energy from mules, as well as just the ability to mine from a new base, one that's not saturated yet. That is going to be really big. So he's going to only have that for a little bit, because once this command center completes, yeah, the advantage will be neutralized again. And yeah, so the difference is the time when this orbital command comes up versus the one when the other comes up, which is not going to be huge, assuming, yeah, it's going to be 35 seconds apparently. It's 35 in-game seconds, and actually cancelling the bunker there, because did he scout? No, he did not. Maybe he scanned. I don't know. Let's have a look. So yeah, he did scan this.
Additional supply depots required.
And additional supply depots are required apparently. So yeah, he has he had a supply depot up a little bit too late. Not a big problem in this case, but it's in general it's not a good idea to have that, obviously. So Tech Lab going down on one of the barracks just to make sure that he can upgrade the combat shield and the stim pack. And I don't know why normally we see stim pack first, but in this case combat shield. Maybe Terran vs Terran, it's better to have the combat shield. I don't know. 2 reactors, yep. 2 reactors going down, and an engineering bay coming up. Coming up and going down is apparently the same in StarCraft terminology, because, well, everyone keeps using it, so I use it now, which is kind of silly, but there it is. Once again getting supply blocked here, and once again, yeah, too late on the supply depot. So yeah, more SCVs coming up for both players, and we are currently at 35 versus 34. So our blue player is a little bit ahead there, because he got to make them through the whole game, because he didn't expand very early, so he kept making SCVs for that same money, and yeah, it might actually work out, I'm not sure. So the income is virtually the same, the only difference is when you use your mules, and the units lost is the same. Well, 100 versus 50, and yeah, I'm not sure if it actually, yeah, it probably doesn't count the fact that he cancelled a bunker, for example. Anyhow, doesn't really matter. Lots of things coming up. Stim pack for both of them. The infantry weapons level 1. Armor coming up for our red player here, which is ZeuS. And we see a starport coming up. Yeah, starport coming up. So the factory with a reactor is going to build some Hellions, I'm assuming. Oh no, it's going to trade. It's going to trade with the starport. Yeah, there we go. But the Hellions would do a good job against these enemy marines, because it is mainly a marine versus marine fight. So building a couple of medevacs, they will eventually switch to Vikings, or well, to include Vikings. But yeah, Vikings are only useful if your opponent has medevacs and has Vikings. And yeah, we see on the other end that the medevacs are already flying around, and they join up with the main bulk of the army. So the armies aren't huge yet. It is 43 Marines versus 25 Marines, and 2 Marauders actually. So our Terran player, good one. ZeuS actually, that was lame. ZeuS actually going for Marauders from his yeah, this one barracks with the reactor on it. And yeah, although the Marauders aren't great in this composition, it is a good counter against the Hellions that might come out. I mean, why not throw in a couple of Hellions, right? And indeed, the enemy did put in a siege tank. So NaDa used to be a very good player in StarCraft 1. Yeah, StarCraft Brood War to be specific. And yeah, he knows how to play Terran. So he knows how to mix in these loose units, just to make sure that he can do a little bit better than the opponents. Getting yeah, corners here, or sandwich between 2 sides, and actually, wow, saving 3 Marines here. And one of the medevacs gets out. So yeah, a huge army still left for this player, but yeah, NaDa's army is already back up. Well, he already has a similar army. He was ahead in army and lost a little bit there, but it's now the 3 siege tank versus the 1 Marauder. So I'm still giving the edge to our blue player here. NaDa has more SCVs. Yeah, the mules really don't matter at this moment, and both of them are going to expand here, which is interesting to say the least. That they both chose the same moment to do that, and yeah, this command center is not going to come up. Loses 100 minerals, but most importantly, he is going to lose the construction there, meaning that this red command center is going to come up, while the blue one will take several more seconds to come up. And let's see. Can't find the command centers. Yeah, so it takes 100 seconds to come up, and there's about 50 seconds of delay now. So yeah, that's a big deal. I mean, 50 seconds doesn't seem like a whole lot, but it is quite a lot, actually. Because this game is all about the seconds. It's not about tenths of a second like some other games, like League of Legends, but it is about, well, seconds rather than minutes. And oh, losing a medevac there for no reason at all. So, interestingly enough, I was spotting that earlier. One of them had a sensor tower earlier, but the other one has a sensor tower up now as well. So this spot may be a normal drop spot, so medevacs coming in, dropping over here. And the same goes on the other side, because most of the maps are actually mirrored. Missile turret over here, kind of confirming that theory, I guess. And that unit got spotted by the sensor tower, so immediately gets taken out. So yeah, both armies now kind of grouping up, standing around a little bit, not really doing a whole lot. It is 6 tanks to 2, but also 60 versus 40 Marines. And the siege tanks are going to make the difference here. The 3 siege tanks should be able to handle this pretty easily. Actually taking quite a few shots here to kill the tank. And yeah, he loses 1 tank of his own, but still has 4 left over here in the front, where the enemy only has 1 left. So lots of scans going down, and every scan you use means that you're not going to have a mule. So that means scans are really, or have to be really useful in order to make it worth it. And it seems that our red player here is going for the sneak around the back, because he knows that the blue army is over here. He does lose, I think, a tank there. Because of the scans, yeah, they both know where the other army is, but yeah, not actually getting, well, the red player not actually getting so much out of his scans. He spotted the army, sure, but he cannot really do anything with that, and scanning the wrong area now. But yeah, well, he knows at least that the army is gone and is probably coming this way. Oh, that was really risky. The almost getting taken out there, and yeah, the missile turret's coming up. Going to drop the Marines here, and is going to lose a dropship there, but I think, or a medevac there. I think he did drop everything out of it, and this Marine is going down. It's just there to spot. It's not a big deal. So yeah, now these two are getting taken out by this army coming in. One of them is going to make a run for it, hoping that he can actually survive. But will he be able to? Yeah, there's a Marine over here as well. So they put Marines just like you would put Overlords, just to spot whether a base is coming up. And yeah, this is a stimmed Marine versus a non-stimmed Marine. So that was pretty easy who was going to win that. Because normally it is the first guy who shoots, but if you have the speed upgrade, so the attack speed upgrade, then you're going to do pretty well against, well, a non-upgraded Marine. So, stimming a couple of the Marines, not all of them, and running in just to do some extra damage, just to drain some energy from these medevacs. But the medevacs seem to be full of energy, except for this one, which is rather low. So it's not going to make a difference. Maybe it was just to spot a little bit. Oh, losing quite a bit of army there. And the red army is coming in from the top now. Trying to flank around the side, and I wonder why they don't just build another sensor tower somewhere in the front, because it seems way more efficient than using all of these scans, since, as I said, Every scan you use costs you a mule. Means that you don't have a mule. And if you have sensor towers up, you can still keep track of the army. Or if you just build an air unit, you can still keep track of the enemy army. Although air units kind of hard to keep alive with these huge amounts of marines. So now it's 14 tanks versus 7 tanks, and ZeuS is now in front in the tank battle. But it's all a matter of the positioning, because if you have 7 siege tanks versus 17 unsieged tanks, then the 7 sieged tanks are still going to win out. So lots of marines, 71 marines versus 57 marines. There's actually starting to be a gap in the amount of marines, but it gets compensated by the amount of tanks. And it is actually quite interesting to see that one of the players, in this case ZeuS, is going for way more of a factory build than the other player, which is in this case NaDa. So finally taking my advice, building another sensor tower here, and able to spot the army with that sensor tower. It doesn't give you vision, but at least it does allow you to see where the enemy army is. And this sensor tower is actually very well placed, because it can see up till here, which means that you can see all of this, and you can see the line, and it's actually really well positioned. So I like the sensor tower use here, because it allows you to spot the army, or to keep track of the army, and that's what sensor towers are for. And a sensor tower must be a lot cheaper than using all of these scans to keep track of the army. And since you still don't get vision, you still need the scans every now and then, but you only need the scans in the tanks versus tanks battles. And a few marines getting left behind. Oh, it's so sad. So who's going to build these? I wonder. It seems that the red player started to build on the blue side, blue player's base, but there is a drop incoming. Oh wow, losing one of both of the medevacts full of units. And although that's not a huge amount of units, it is still pretty pretty harsh to have that happen to you. So losing a couple of tanks here, and he is going to lose these missile turrets now. Missile turrets are going to get a free kill on this medevac, and they may actually pick off this medevac as well. Oh no, this one actually stays alive. So getting a free medevac out of that, and the medevac just out of range, almost getting a second medevac. But that turret already worth his weight in gold. And the one SCV just staying behind, hiding behind the building here. It is spotted by the sensor tower though, so you can't see it. So 2 tanks going down actually to a group of marines without any counterattack. And we will see that. Well, it's going to be more and more about who has their tanks sieged and who doesn't. We saw some marine drops on top of siege tanks. That is a really good strategy. It of course comes from the zealot bombs that were very common in Starcraft 1. And the basic idea behind it is because tanks do splash damage to each other, so to friendly tanks, it is one of the only friendly fire mechanisms that's really abusable. You can drop units on top of siege tanks, and they will shoot each other. Well, they will shoot the dropped unit, of course, but they will splash each other. And apparently the game is over. I didn't really keep track of the amount of minerals that was still everywhere. But it's completely mined out. He has some over here, but then he has this new base, whereas the opponent, yeah, this is obviously mined out because it's his main naturals mine out. This base is not mined out, but yeah, he may not even have any units left. Oh, I was already on the unit tab. So yeah, 10 Marines, 1 siege tank against 59 Marines, 9 siege tanks. Eventually the guy with the most tanks won. So a very interesting match. We saw a lot of engagement, a lot of action, and in the end the guy with the most siege tanks won. Maybe due to the fact that he could actually spot the enemy army and pick off some of the units in there. But yeah, picking off these 2 tanks over here, or 3 tanks that were over here, that was pretty big. Also one of the earlier fights, because NaDa was ahead in tanks for the early game, but then lost that advantage, so there must have been one of the fights, I didn't really see it, but one of the fights must have gone in the advantage of our red player by quite a lot. And yeah, Terran vs Terran, always interesting, because, well, it is kind of a positioning match. You don't really get to win by just moving your army. You win because you're a better player. You have better positioning. Not so much you're a better player, but because you have better positioning. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed. I found it really interesting. I will see you next time. GG.